Welcome to the Homes on Wheels Alliance YouTube channel. The host of this 2022 online rubber tramp rendezvous, otherwise known as the online RTR. I'm Sue Ann Carlson, the Executive Director of Homes on Wheels Alliance, known by the acronym of HOWA, H-O-W-A. In this video, a Nomad expert will be teaching an RTR class especially made for the online format. But first, let's check out some sweepstakes drawings that will happen on February 2nd. That is, on the date of 2/2/22 at 2 p.m. Pacific Time on the Cheap RV Living YouTube channel. We have 3 sweepstakes. One is for Bob's van. Another is for a Bluetti AC 200 Max portable power station with external battery and a 200-watt solar panel. And the third sweepstakes is for an ACO Power Lion cooler with an internal battery and 70 watts of solar. Information to get tickets and all of the official rules are found at howa.rallyup.com. That's HOWA.RALLYUP.com. This is a sweepstakes, so no donation is necessary. The last day to get tickets is January 26th. 2022, so get them now. As you watch this class, please consider donating to support the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. Use the blue donate button on this page to support this work of Homes on Wheels Alliance. Now, let's watch this class and learn something to help us be successful in the nomadic lifestyle.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 online RTR presented by Homes on Wheels Alliance. My name is Casey, and you might know me from Cheap RV Living. I've been working for Cheap RV Living since 2018. So today we're going to talk about how to choose a vehicle online, and basically I've boiled it down to about 8 steps that hopefully will really help you to make a very educated and safe decision about the next vehicle that you're ready to purchase. So let's get started. One of the first steps when you're purchasing a vehicle is to check and see if the VIN is also advertised with the vehicle. Whether you found it on Craigslist, you'll want to make a phone call and see if you can get the VIN number if it's not placed in the ad. So what a VIN number is it's the identifying code for a specific automobile, and the VIN serves as the car's fingerprint, as no 2 vehicles in operation have the same VIN. The VIN can be used to track recalls, registrations, warranty claims, thefts, or insurance coverage. So one of the most important things you can find out right away is whether or not the vehicle has a clean or salvage title. And it also might have a rebuilt title, which means that it was probably in an accident or was deemed a total loss by the insurance provider. So you want to find out the VIN, and then you want to find out whether or not it's a salvage or a rebuilt title. And I personally don't purchase rebuilt or salvage titles. If you have yours checked by a mechanic, maybe you'd consider that, but I don't recommend that. So what you want is a clean title, which will prevent you from paying more for the vehicle than it's actually worth. Once the vehicle is issued a rebuilt title, it will never have a clean title again. So, in Carfax, it will tell you if you run the VIN and get a Carfax at carfax.com or autocheck.com. The Carfax will tell you about the vehicle that you're interested in purchasing, and one of the first things that shows up is how many owners the vehicle has had and whether or not it's been in an accident. Also, it will give you the dealer price and the private party price. And so if you see this accident symbol here, that means it's been in one or could have been more than one accident, but you'll be able to read it below. Here's the odometer check, and you want to make sure that that matches up with the vehicle. Often vehicles can have a rolled back odometer, especially if you're purchasing them on Craigslist. So make sure that the odometer on the vehicle itself matches the VIN check. And you also want to make sure it's not a rebuilt title, or there's no lemon report on it, there's no flood report, there's no structural damage, and that the airbag has not been deployed. And, like we said, making sure that there's no like recalls or rollbacks on the odometer. So then you can look at the vehicle history report. And for example, on this vehicle, you can see there was a damage report in 2019, and that involved the center rear and left and right rear flanks of the vehicle. And then below that, you can see another accident or report that was indicated for 2020, where the front right and center were also damaged. So this vehicle has been damaged almost on all sides, and you can tell that just from getting the VIN. So just by getting the VIN, you found out more about this car than you could have by speaking with the owner or researching it other ways. So it's really important that you never purchase a vehicle without running the VIN first. Now, if you run into people who don't want to give you the VIN, I would personally just pass on that vehicle. Money is so hard won, and you work so hard for your money that to pay, 20 or $40, whatever it might cost you for this VIN report, is going to really pay off in the long run for the lifetime of the vehicle and the money that you're going to end up putting into that. Could save you thousands of dollars in the long run. So this is, a really important thing to do. Now, if you don't have the money for the VIN check, you can go to vincheck.com, or I'm sorry, NICB.org, the National Insurance Crime Bureau, and they'll give you the very basics. All they'll tell you on that is whether or not that vehicle has a theft record and whether or not it has a total loss record, which means it would have possibly a rebuilt title. So Carfax.com also has used cars there. Auto Trader often has Carfax records attached to each of the used car ads that it posts online. So usually a VIN check will be attached with any car you're looking at Carfax. But now let's find out a little bit about the history of the vehicle and the specific make, model, and year, and what were some of the problems for those specific years. So here, if we look under Chevy, and then that will bring you to every vehicle that Chevy has made. And on this first page, you can see how many complaints each specific model has had overall. So right off the bat, you can see that an Impala had quite a lot of complaints, as did the Silverado and the Equinox. But let's take a look at the Chevy Express with only 74 overall complaints. That's pretty good. And the same thing with the Astrovan as well. So here you can see it lays out every single year, and you can see how many complaints for each year and what were some better years than others. And so for these, it didn't have a lot of complaints on any year specifically, but if we scroll down to the bottom, it will give you the worst Chevy Express problems overall, and you can check out all the years and see which one might be the best fit for you. And you can do you can really drill down on this website and do a lot of detailed research on all the complaints that were issued. So this is just a phenomenal resource, and that is carcomplaints.com. So here on this one, we can take a look at what years and what were the worst years. And we can see that having a Dodge Caravan, for example, you're not going to have a lot of problems in the most recent years. But let's say you've purchased a 2005 Dodge Caravan. In that case, you can see that the interior accessory problems were really an issue with this year. And let's look at interior accessory problems. And you can see that one significant problem that really stands out is that the power door locks are not working. So you can see that on car complaints, it's really just very handy for finding out specifically for the make, model, and year you're interested in, what were the problems for that vehicle. Now, overall, there's another thing to be aware of, and that's the Takata airbag recall. And you can find that information on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website. And here you can enter a VIN number and find out a little more about recalls or possibly some safety concerns that you might have with that vehicle. So let's go ahead and we'll enter a VIN, the same VIN number we've been using here. And when you enter this, we can see here that it gives us the unrepaired recalls on this vehicle. And so there are no recalls associated with this VIN number right now at the moment. The other thing you can find out on this site is about the Takata airbag recalls. And so you can see here that tens of millions of vehicles with Takata airbags are under recall. So this goes across all makes of vehicles. And one of the most dangerous things about the Takata airbag recall is that those vehicles that were exposed to long-term heat and humidity have more of a tendency to explode when deployed. And these explosions, as it says here, have caused injuries and deaths. So the reason for the Takata recall is that they used a very volatile ammonium nitrate to create a small explosion and inflate the airbags in case of a crash, but the chemical uh, can be more volatile over time. And when it's exposed to moisture in the air, the explosion can blow apart in like metal shards. And the shrapnel will go through the airbag and it can impale people in the vehicle. So, so Takata airbags, make sure if your vehicle does have one, if you do the check, you see it has one, make sure that you factor in the cost of replacing that airbag on the vehicle. And because if it has an open recall on the Takata airbag, you're going to want to have that changed out. And it will tell you here on that website what the situation is for your particular VIN number. So step 6 is to get a fair market value for your vehicle. And you can do that on a number of different websites. Edmunds is a really great one, Kelley Blue Book, JD Power. All of these will tell you your fair market value for your vehicle. So those are just a few to get you started. And another thing to be aware of are people online who are selling cars on Facebook Marketplace and also on Craigslist. And they're purchasing them on auctions and then they're turning over many car sales at a time. So whether there's a couple different ways to spot if someone is selling multiple vehicles online, and that's step number 7 to avoid car flippers. So they might present themselves as a private seller, but in actuality, they're going to car auctions and purchasing multiple vehicles at a time. So the way that you can kind of check to see if this is what the situation is for a vehicle you're interested in here is you might choose a vehicle on Facebook Marketplace, and then you'll see the price here and the vehicle, and you'll just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the seller's name. Well, if you click on the seller's name, it's going to tell you how many listings they currently have on Facebook Marketplace. So if it comes up with like 7 or 30, then you know that this person likely is selling multiple vehicles at one time on Facebook Marketplace. If it just has one vehicle, that's always what I look for because that's more likely like just a random person who's not a car flipper, but like this person has 32 vehicles. So obviously they're in the business of selling cars. So I always check that. And if they just have the one vehicle, then I pretty much know it's just an authentic private seller, just trying to sell their one vehicle. So a lot of these come from the auctions, and they might have some kind of damage oftentimes at an auction, or they'll oftentimes be a rebuilt vehicle title. So when you go to Craigslist, you can, let's say we're looking for Highlanders and you want to figure out if the person is a car flipper or not. So you'd go do your search and put in Highlander, and then you'd click on for sale by owner. But a lot of them are still in the for sale by owner. So that person might be representing themselves as a private seller when in actuality, they're buying a lot of cars on auction and reselling them on Craigslist. So, for example, here's a Highlander 2016, and we can just take something very specific to the ad, like the phone number and how it's written and the spaces in it. And then we can go ahead and search on that phone number. And then oftentimes you'll just get however many vehicles that phone number has for sale on Craigslist in that area. So here, when we press search, um, it's bringing up all the vehicles that come up under that phone number. Um, so you can click on each one and double check. But, sometimes I'll see 20 vehicles come up under the same phone number, and then you'll click on it and you'll see, oh yeah, that's exactly the way he's written every single ad. So that's a good thing to check. And with Craigslist, I've found, especially like in the Phoenix and Los Angeles area, more often than not, um, it's a car flipper ad. So you want to be really careful, especially if it's low miles. Um, so the other thing to watch out for when you're on Craigslist and you're on Facebook Marketplace is one of the first questions that I always ask them when I call on a vehicle. I want to find out if the vehicle is registered in their name. Because if someone is flipping cars, then what they're doing is they don't want to pay the money to register the vehicle in their name. They just take it from the previous owner and then they sell it to you. So what they'll say is, oh, no, the car belongs to my grandmother. So, it's not in my name. Okay, so step 8 is to have the vehicle checked by a mechanic. And so you can schedule for a vehicle inspection the same day that you go see the car. And before you make an offer on the car, make sure that you have a vehicle mechanic look at all aspects of the vehicle, and they'll go through like a 100-point check or 30-point check or whatever it is. And they check, and they put it up in the air and they look underneath it, and they'll know everything they can see externally just by looking at the underneath of the car. So you can discover any potential problems, and then you can use that car inspection as a negotiating tool when you are coming to the agreement on the final price. So these steps are very important to get the VIN, especially incredibly important, and that will save you a lot of trouble. It's also on the inside of the door as shown here. Make sure that you have a clean title and not a rebuilt or a salvage title is step 2. And then you want to go ahead and check on carcomplaints.com and find out specifically, especially if it was the first year of a make of a certain vehicle, it could have a lot of complaints. Research the vehicle. Also, if you're purchasing on Craigslist or Facebook, make sure that you're checking and you're not purchasing from a car flipper or someone who purchases at auction. Make sure to take the car to a mechanic, do a pre-purchase inspection. And so I hope that a lot of things that I've mentioned here will help you for in the future and for your next vehicle that you're buying. And I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat. And thank you so much for watching this short video on 8 steps to buying a vehicle online. Good luck with your vehicle purchase.
That was lots of good information. We are so fortunate to have such wisdom and expertise in the nomadic community. Support the RTRs by clicking on the blue donate button on this YouTube page. 100% of your donation supports HOWA. Finally, get those sweepstakes tickets by January 26, 2022. You could win. No purchase is necessary. Thanks much, and we'll see you down the road.